Hi, welcome. In this video I'm going to explain to you all aspects of tool management. The tool manager is used to manage the tools, as the name implies, and that is available by clicking the tool manager toolbar button or from the machine menu and clicking the tool manager. So with the tool manager we are able to create, delete, edit and rename tools. Before I show you that, I just want to draw your attention to the location of the tools folder as specified by this text box here. As you can see here, we're looking at a folder called Metric in a folder called SharpCam Tools and inside the Documents folder of the current user. And in fact, when you installed SharpCam and it was run for the first time, when you were asked what were the default units for a new part, this affected the default location of the tool. So if you chose metric units, then this would point to the metric folder, and clearly if you chose inch, it'll point to the inch folder. But I'd just like to show you this folder. So if I go to the Start menu, choose Documents, and there's the SharpCam Tools folder, and then we have a metric and an inch. So let's choose the metric folder. As you can see here, we've got a set of metric tools, and then the inch folder we've got a set of inch tools. So if you'd chosen inch for the default units for a new part, then the tools manager would be pointing to this folder by default. As it stands, we're working in metric, so let me just go to the metric folder. Just want to show you, if I just shrink this window up a bit and move it over to the right, you can see basically the tools listed here are the tools listed here. So we are literally looking at files. Each tool is just a file with a .tool extension. This gives you the flexibility to copy tools into another folder, or in fact copy at one folder and move it to somewhere else. You know, it's really, the flexibility is there to do what you want. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now it's possible to change the default location for a new part, so let me show you how to do that. Just close down the tool manager. Then if we go up to the tools menu and choose options, and then we need the general node of the new part default, so click on there. And then up the top here we've got the tools folder location. So this is the default location for a new part. So we could choose the browse button and select a different folder. So if I click the browse button, then we can navigate our way to a different folder. I'm not going to do it, but you would select the tools folder, or the folder that the tools are in, and then you could click OK. And that would now mean that whenever you created a new part, then that would be the location that the tools manager pointed to. Now also we can change the default location for the current part. Now that's done via the tools manager. And then we can use the browse button to the right of the location of the tools, and I'm going to show you that, but before I do that, let's create another tools folder. So if I go up to the Documents, into SharpCam Tools, then if I right click on the metric folder, copy, and then we can put that, let's put that onto the desktop. So I'm just going to minimize everything, right click, paste. So we've got a copy of the tools on the desktop, and you could rename that as well if you wanted to. So back to SharpCam. So now if I click the browse button and navigate to this new folder on the desktop, and there it is, and then click OK. So you can see the location now has changed to the metric folder that's directly on the desktop. Now the thing to remember is that this location is saved with the part. So let me demonstrate that. So close the tool manager. I'm just going to create a single line. You don't actually need anything to save a part, but for good measure I'll just create a single line. Save, click the save button. So because this is the first time it's been saved, the save as dialog box is being shown. And part 1, that's fine, so go save. So that's now on the desktop. So let me just shut that down. And then if I go open, and there's the part on the desktop, double click that, and then choose the tool manager, you can see that the location is the metric folder on the desktop that we specified. So that's been saved with the part. Just to prove, If I create a new part, that should still be pointing to the original location if I choose the Tools Manager. And there we go. So you can see that location is in the SharpCam Tools folder in the Documents. So the idea of this really is that you might have different folders for different machines, or even different parts. You could think of it as a toolkit. I mean, you may never want to use this flexibility. You may just decide to keep all your tools in one folder, in which case that's fine. Now to actually working with the tools. As you click a tool, you can see the number boxes are populated with the tool data. So as I click, you can see them all changing. Now to actually make a change to a tool, you click on the tool you want to change, and then you make the change. Let's just say we'd like that to be 40. And as soon as a value changes, you can see the Save Change button has become enabled. So quite simply, we click Save Changes, and then that's it. The change has been committed. So you can click again just to see that the tool length has actually changed. So that's changing the value. By the way, you can also change the type of tool. So maybe you want it to be a drill. So if we go Save, you can see Tool 2 has now changed to an icon for the drill. But the name hasn't changed though. That's only the data for the tool. If you actually want to rename it, you've got to click the tool so that it populates the name box, and then we can go Rename. So From, that's a read-only field, so you can't change that. The To name, let's call that a drill. And then I go Rename. So that's actually renaming the file in the Metric Tools folder. Now you might want to delete a tool. So select a tool you want to delete. And then you click Delete. And you get a confirmation. Are you sure? Yes. And also there is in fact a context menu. So if I right click, you can see we've got the delete there, and in fact the rename. The last thing, and probably one of the most common things you want to do, is create a new tool. This works by typing in a name that doesn't already exist. So let's just click on the first tool. As soon as you make a change to the name box, so anything, if I just put Mills, say, an S on the end, each time a character is typed, the folder's scanned to look for a match. If it can't find a match, then the Create Tool button is enabled. So clearly the fact that that name doesn't exist, then that tool button is enabled. So now I could go Create. It's a bit of a silly name, so let's choose something a bit better. So let's just click on the tool again. I mean, this is a good way. You can click on a tool, that'll populate all the number boxes with the data, so you can base a tool on that. So now you can rename a tool. So let's just rename this tool. Let's say it's tool 5, and it's a 16mm ML. So that's changed the name. I ought to be a good idea to change the diameter as well. Anything else? The tool number and the offset number. Let's make it a bit longer. And now I can go Create Tool. Okay, and as you can see there, that tool has been created there. Then lastly is how do we select a tool? Well, you click a tool, and then you can choose the Select button. You can right click and choose Select, or my favourite way of doing it is to double click a tool. It selects and closes the tool manager, and you can see down here that we've got the currently selected tool indicated. I'd like to show you now the implications of deleting a tool that's already used by a part. So let's go ahead and create a profile operation on this line. So I'm going to use Tool 1. Choose Profile. Just enter some nominal Z positions. And cutting data. And then add the line to the operation. I'm now going to go and delete the tool used to create this operation. Now the most likely scenario here is that you are working with a part that was created a long time ago, but nevertheless I could still demonstrate what happens here. First, I'm going to go and minimize SharpCam into the metric folder. So this tool here is the one that we used for that operation. So I'm going to hit the delete key and click yes, that's now been deleted. Back to SharpCam, to the operations tab, back into select mode, and then right click on profile one and go edit. And what's happened is SharpCam has tried to find the original tool. So as it says here, the tool used to create this operation does not exist anymore in the original location. Please choose from one of the following options. The default continue without recreating tool. What that will do is SharpCam internally is aware of the tool that created the operation and can recreate it as well. So if you choose that, you can continue working, but the tool is not recreated in the folder and won't be available for selection. So if you want to be able to select the tool subsequently, then we need to choose one of the last three options. The next one is recreate tool in its original location. Just like to point out as well that the third one is recreate tool in the location specified for the part. Now at the moment these two are one in the same thing. But for this one here, recreate tool in its original location, if the part had come from a different PC, then this location is unlikely to match this one here. For start, the username will be different, in which case it probably isn't what you're going to want to choose, because the folder structure is going to be recreated as well as the tool, and that really probably isn't going to be what you want. So just look carefully at what the two options are showing you and choose the appropriate one. In this case it doesn't really matter, so I'm going to leave it on recreate tool in its original location. Click OK. So you can see then it's selected the tool and we're editing the operation. We've got one contour in the open tab. Go back to the metric folder and you can see that that tool now has been recreated and available for selection subsequently. In fact, you can recreate all the tools like that, so it doesn't really matter if you've deleted all the tools accidentally or on purpose. There's nothing stopping you from continuing on adding operations to that part using the same tool. The last thing I'd like to show you is the last option. So to do that, I'm going to have to delete that tool again. Back to Operations tab, select mode, edit operation. So the last one is specify the location to recreate the tool. So if we go OK, we just have a browse folder dialog box where we can choose where we want to put the tool, so maybe on the desktop, and go OK. So that's recreated the tool and selected it on the desktop. Really this is more of a for you to put the tool somewhere after subsequently. The last thing I want to show you is the implications of editing the data of a tool that's already used in an operation. So let's go back to SharpCam. I'm just going to create a new part. And again, we're just going to create an operation against that line. So we're now back to the default location because it's a new part. So again, we're going to choose tool 1, profile operation, enter some nominal Z positions, and cutting data. And add the line to the operation. So let's go and select the tool manager, highlight the tool and make a change to the tool. Let's just say that it's 60mm long. Save the changes, close the tool manager. So at the moment nothing's happened. The only time it's going to become a problem is when we go to edit the operation. So this more likely is to be editing operation that was previously created a while ago, because you're unlikely to go and change a tool part way through. But nevertheless, you may have decided to make an edit to the tool, and that's fine. In which case, let's just go and go to edit the operation. And SharpCam is going to look for the original tool that created the operation and double check that nothing's changed. So let's go edit. So as you can see, it says here the tool used to create the operation has changed as detailed below. Update the operation. Now the list here will contain everything that's different. In this case there's only one thing, which is the length of the tool. So what do we want to do? Do we want to update the operation? Yes, in which case the operation will be using the new information. In this case the length actually is only going to affect the simulation, but if it was the diameter, that's quite important. Or we could say no, just continue using the information stored from the original tool. So if I go yes, then the operation has been updated. And there we are, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much.